Is this you every time you try something new?
It's going to use its AI, and it does a pretty good selection to work with. Now, it did...
Okay, so I need a layer for the background, and then another one for the subject, and then a mask for the background because they don't match. No, it wasn't the background, it was the subject. No, it was the background. Anyway, now I need to take down the yellows. Hold on a minute, was it the yellows? No, it was the blues. Can I use the same layer? Hold on a minute, what if I...
A few moments later.
Welcome back to Davis Academy, where I use my own personal failures to try to help you. Here's a story that maybe I shouldn't tell you about. Before I started my channel, I spent 2 weeks watching videos online, trying to figure out what the best video editor would be. And I watched comparisons of CapCut and Adobe Premiere and whatever was popular that week. I watched tons of tutorials about how to properly light your setup, where to position the camera, how to frame the subject. I then went out and bought background lights and a couple of lights to light myself so that everything would look polished and professional. And then I didn't upload a single video for the next year. Did I need all of that knowledge to start? No. Did I need to buy all of these things? No. I could have just used iMovie and the light that comes through my window, and it would have looked great anyway. Not a single day passes without me seeing yet another video titled The Best X for 2020 something. Top 5 things for that other thing you didn't need anyway. Or my personal favorite, the one thing that changed my workflow completely. Look, let's be real. These people that are creating this content, they don't care about you. They just want to sell you a product. And they will give you all of these secrets and pro tips, but what have they done with their lives apart from giving tips and reviewing things? And you may say, well, hold on a minute. No one falls for that nowadays. This is 2023. We're not boomers. But you'd be wrong. Think about this for a second. If no one fell for these things, then how would these people be making any money? Look, sometimes you actually need to learn something, and a tutorial is the way to go. Sometimes you may even need to buy something new or improved, so watching comparisons makes a lot of sense. And look, I'm not calling anyone out here. In fact, I'm very guilty of this as well. But it's not helpful if all you do is watch these things and possibly buy these things and then not follow up. And see, that's the problem, and that's exactly where I'm trying to get. Let me give you an example. It's like you're hungry, so you decide to make yourself a sandwich. But instead of getting up from the couch and going to the kitchen, you just open up your phone, read 5 recipes for the best sandwich. Whoa, that's cool. Maybe you even go buy the ingredients, and then you come back and you still don't make yourself a sandwich. And 10 minutes pass and you go, wait, why am I still hungry? Bruh. What are we doing? We're just overloading our heads with useless information, and that just creates confusion. And the funniest part is that many of us end up believing that if you don't buy that new thing, or you don't watch that tutorial, or even better, you don't adopt those 19 new habits that someone in their room is telling you about, you're never going to be successful at anything, ever.
Come on.
So class, I humbly come to you today to present this new phenomena I have discovered in the field. I have named it the Serial Optimizer. Please pay attention, as this will be on the final. Yes, questions? Yeah, exactly. For those that got here late, we are at the end of page 97, just at the start of chapter 4. Yes, yeah, right there. Alright, roll the clip.
You are watching the Serial Optimizer. The Serial Optimizer is a type of human being characterized by the obsessive impulse to amass as much knowledge as possible about anything in particular before actually engaging in it. A common symptom is trying to adopt the habits of other practitioners that have obtained great success in their endeavor of choice while completely disregarding the endeavor itself. They may also binge-watch instructional videos in the hopes that they will retain all of that information without the need for actual practice. In some extreme cases, these humans will go as far as obtaining the tools necessary to perform their craft at a professional level without even mastering the basics first. Spotting a serial optimizer in the wild can be a daunting but incredibly exciting activity. Use the following examples to recognize them in the field. Adam has developed a love for guitar. He's even created a daily practice routine and read several articles about the best way to learn an instrument as quickly as possible. However, he's having a hard time applying these principles to his practice because he hasn't even bought a guitar yet. But the hunt for the perfect guitar seems to be over now, as he just read an article about the best vintage guitars for under $10,000 and finally decided on which one to buy. Soon he'll be able to start practicing those open chords. Erin has always been passionate about photography. She recently decided to take a step forward and buy the camera she's been dreaming of for a decade, a brand new Canon EOS R5. But just after buying it, she started doing some more research and realized that the updated model will be coming out in the next few months. Now she's doubting her purchase and feels like waiting for the next model would be the wiser choice. Maybe during that time she can finally take that course about basic iPhone photography she's been delaying for a while. This was all. Thank you for watching the Serial Optimizer.
Okay, welcome back. I hope you enjoyed that instructional material. Now, let's go back in time, you and I, 200 years. Let's say it's the year 1823 and you read a great novel. So great that it inspires you to be a writer yourself. What options do you have? Well, you'd probably just get pen and paper and start writing. It's not like you can do much else. Maybe you could write a short story and ask a friend to review it. With time, you could save up some money and buy one of those fancy typewriters, or even better, one of those dusty old instructional books. You might even make some connections and manage to get published. Because we're in the year 1823, the list of things we can do is very short, and no one's making typewriter tutorials yet. So we are forced to start small and slowly obtain this knowledge as we improve. And as we become better writers, it makes sense for us to go get better tools or investigate more. And now, let's come back to 2023. What do we do now? We watch hours of tutorials about why this shade of blue is better than that other shade of blue, but if you can't even draw your hand, does it make sense? Here's another example, and one I'm also guilty of. Come on, man, get it together. Say you want to get in shape, but instead of going to the gym, you do a deep dive on YouTube about which training split is best. Should I do upper-lower? Should I do push-pull legs? Should I use weights, or do I stick to calisthenics? These questions will become important as you eventually progress, but if you can't do a single push-up, what does it matter? Why does this happen to us? Why do we keep doing this? Well, that changes on an individual basis, so probably only you and your therapist, hopefully, can answer that question. But here's a list of the usual suspects. Maybe you're just scared of failing, so you delay starting and then convince yourself you're just doing research. Maybe you developed a procrastination habit, and this is just how you deal with everything now. Maybe you're such a perfectionist that you need all of the information up front before you commit to anything. Maybe you fell in love with the idea of what you're trying to do, but you're not ready to put in the effort. Regardless of why this happens, the results are always the same. You end up putting the cart before the horse. You enter a vicious cycle where you start doing everything surrounding the thing except the thing itself. You start optimizing before you start implementing. And you reach a point where you completely replace the joy of discovery with the stress of optimization. Just think about it for a minute. Optimizing anything is incredibly hard work. Optimization usually requires you to learn things about history, theory, and very technical details, which are usually not the most enjoyable part. Optimizing is quite literally the least fun part out of anything. and you want to start there. Well, no wonder you quit everything after 2 weeks. What about letting yourself fall in love with something as you experiment with it? What about naturally discovering things and just having fun with it first? How can we deal with this? Well, I'm very glad you asked. After finding myself doing stuff like this for years and years, I have developed a very simple method, a maxim, a rule of thumb, a philosophy of life that can help you cut through all of the noise and just get down to business. So, the next time you find yourself in a situation like this, say you develop a new interest or you want to start a new hobby, whenever you face something new, just ask yourself this very simple question. How can I do this right now? That's it. Get rid of the imaginary tools you think you need. Take out the fluff, remove all impediments, and just get to the core of whatever it is you're trying to do. No, you don't need more research or planning. You don't need to watch that tutorial, and you most definitely don't need to buy that new shiny thing that will help you do it. Stop thinking about the things you might possibly need and just do it. Which is a nice segue to today's sponsor. Nike has made great shoes ever since they were created, and this year they are coming out with the new... Nah, Nike is not sponsoring this video. I'm just kidding. But if you want to, Nike, I'll take your money. Let's look at some examples. Want to learn how to paint? Well, maybe you don't have colors or brushes, a canvas for your paintings. Maybe you don't have one of those models to just sit very still while you paint them. But what you probably have is pen and paper. So just grab a notebook and a pen and try to draw something 10 times in a row. Do that every day for a month. See where it leads you. You don't need fancy things. You just need to draw. Do you want to be a guitar player? Maybe you don't have a guitar, an amp, picks, a guitar strap. Maybe you don't know anyone who can teach you and you have absolutely no knowledge of music at all. But you could probably buy a second-hand guitar on eBay for $50. Open up YouTube and just click on the first video teaching you chords. Do that every day for a month. See how it goes. You don't need expensive gear. You don't need expensive anything. You just need to do the thing. There's a very famous quote by the Greek philosopher Epictetus that goes, "If you wish to be a writer, write." As your self-proclaimed internet professor, I take pride in helping you avoid wasting time and money like I have done in the past. So let's be practical, you and I. Come here for a moment. If you can barely sing in the shower, why do you even need a microphone? If you cannot run a lemonade stand, why do you need to know about the habits of Warren Buffett or Mark Cuban or all of these super billionaires? Yes, as you become better at what you do, these things will become important. But they're not important now. What's important right now is for you to do the thing. Do it ugly, do it quickly, do it so badly that when you remember these days, you just cringe. But do it. So that's it. You don't need a new shiny thing. You don't need to watch another tutorial or to create a new habit or to try to adopt someone else's routine. You don't need any of that. I hope this video has been useful to you, and I hope you can learn from my mistakes. Stop optimizing, start implementing. Bye.